Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, before we proceed, I would like to remind you that the virtual mini plenary is deemed to be in the precincts of Parliament, and it does constitute a meeting of the National Assembly for debating purposes only. In addition to the rules of virtual sittings, the rules of the National Assembly, including the rules of debate, apply. Members enjoy the same powers and privilege that apply in a sitting of the National Assembly. Members should equally note that anything that is said on the virtual platform is deemed to have been said in the House and may be ruled upon. All members who have logged in shall be considered to be present and are requested to mute their microphones and only unmute when requested to speak. The microphones are very sensitive and will pick up any noise which may disturb the attention of other members. And when you are recognized to speak, please unmute your microphone and connect your video. Members may also make use of the icons on the bar at the bottom of the screens, which has the option that allows a member to put up his or her hand to raise a point of order. Honorable members, the Secretariat will assist me in alerting when members are requesting to speak. When using the virtual platform, members are urged to refrain or desist from unnecessary points of order or interjections. Honorable members, we shall now proceed to the order, which is debate on vote number 41, Water and Sanitation Appropriation Bill. I now recognize the Honorable Minister of Water and Sanitation. The Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, House Chair. Honorable Speaker and Deputy Speaker, and His Excellency the President and the Deputy President, Deputy Ministers in the Department, David Mahlobo and Makatsi, the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, honorable members, and the members of the public. Director General and senior managers in our department, leadership of the entities, chair of boards, CEOs and senior executives, and leadership stakeholders, and fellow South Africans. It's a great honor for me to present my maiden budget speech to the National Assembly in the Republic of South Africa. Since my appointment as Minister of Water and Sanitation in August last year. We start with KZN floods. We are making this speech at a difficult time following devastating floods in various parts of the country, but KwaZulu-Natal in particular, followed by the Eastern Cape. I wish to take this opportunity to express our sincere condolences to the families of all those who lost their loved ones in the floods. We would like to express sympathy to all those who are still without water and sanitation services due to the floods, and want to take this opportunity and assure them that we're hard at work to return to normality as fast as possible to restore these services. Immediately after the floods, we established a water and sanitation war room in KZN, together with the worst affected municipalities and the government of the province. Our department quickly had water tankers to supplement those available in the municipalities, and we seconded a team of engineers and other specialists to the war room to assist with the implementation of emergency repair work and to assess and quantify the damage. We're at the moment focusing in the areas up north of eThekwini, particularly Otongati area, where people are still without water to a large extent. Good progress has been made with regards to the restoration of water supply, but there have been immense damage to water and sanitation infrastructure, we must admit. Together with municipalities, we completed the costing of the damage and submitted the application to the Department of Cooperative Governance Disaster Funding. Once funding is allocated, We will continue to be involved in the planning and monitoring of implementation of the reconstruction projects with a stern focus of building back better. On the National Water and Sanitation Summit, honorable members, over the past 9 months, we've traversed the length and breadth of our country, meeting with those entrusted with supplying and treating water in our communities, our departments, regional offices, municipalities, water boards, water users association, irrigation boards, and catchment agencies, as well as representatives of the communities and industries, which are the recipients of services. In addition, in February this year, we convened a 2-day-long National Water and Sanitation Summit, which was attended by a wide range of stakeholders and experts. As a result of these engagements, we've developed a thorough understanding of the water and sanitation challenges facing the country. We as well as high level of consensus regarding what needs to be done to turn the tide. At this point in time, we want to assure the public that we are equal to the task and we are making progress. The department is in the process of planning and implementing a range of major projects to augment national bulk water resource infrastructure. We are also in the process of stabilizing the national water resource infrastructure, establishing the National Water Resource Infrastructure Agency to leverage large-scale investment in national water resource infrastructure that are required to ensure South Africa has sufficient bulk water supply now and in the future. The agency bill will soon be submitted to the Cabinet Committee and will thereafter be submitted to Cabinet for approval and then to Parliament before the end of this financial year. The final draft of the business plan has been submitted to the National Treasury for comment. The augmentation projects, establishment of the agency and interventions are intended to ensure that the supply of water does not become a binding constraint on economic growth that is being envisaged by South Africa. They are also aimed at ensuring that challenges with municipal water and sanitation services delivery are not exacerbated by a shortage of bulk water, as has happened in the cities of Cape Town and Nelson Mandela, among others in the past. The rainfall shows a rainfall pattern in South Africa, shows that there is more rain in the eastern part of the province, from south up to the north, with a red patch in the middle of the country and a yellow patch in the west towards the west coast. And that is from Nelson Mandela up to Limpopo, including Northwest, Northern Cape, and the Western Cape. All those places are yellowish. But when we shift to the middle, again from Nelson Mandela Bay, but in the middle, going up to the north, that is where we have a close to crisis kind of situation with the red patch that requires a lot of thinking in terms of other strategies, including groundwater. Our main concern right now is dam levels and the availability of water in Nelson Mandela Bay. But it also includes the current challenges in Musina and Bembe and other parts of the country that are still crying as a result of shortages of water. some historical, some as a result of disturbances in infrastructure of one kind or the other, up to sheer lack of management services that are required all the time. We acknowledge these challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, the department has therefore developed a number of projects at various stages throughout the country. For instance, in the Eastern Cape, the Imzimvubu Water Project, which we are advancing on which we are advancing in terms of planning, is aimed at providing water to 750,000 people. But that dam will come at a cost of, or that project will come at a cost of 25 billion rand. I must say it is now at the stage where Treasury and ourselves are finalizing the availability of or procuring doing procurement together with companies that would be involved in this project to try and see what models we will have that will ultimately deliver on this particular project. The designs are 80% complete, and the first round of fundraising began in January 2022 through a request for information, which is currently being evaluated. Now, we know that this is an outstanding project over a number of years, but we want to make an undertaking once more that we are on course and we're aware of the concern in the Eastern Cape regarding this project, and we will work together with them up until we deliver this particular project. In the Free State, we are in the feasibility stage of a 10 billion project to build a major pipeline from the Harib Dam, which is the biggest in the country, to augment water supply in Mangaung. The project is planned to be completed by 2028, if not earlier. In addition, we are implementing 1.7 billion project to upgrade wastewater treatment works, water treatment, water distribution network in the Maluti Apufung area. This project is approximately 30% complete, and it is due to be completed by July 2025. The 36 billion phase 2 Lesotho Highlands Water Project is aimed at ensuring adequate long-term water supply in Gauteng via the Vaal River system. The project is funded through finance raised by Trans-Caledon Tunnel Authority and is being implemented jointly by government of Lesotho and South Africa through the Lesotho Highlands Water Commission and the Lesotho Highlands Development Authority. To date, 14% of the budget has been spent, and the project is due to start delivering water in Gauteng by 2027. And it is important that we do so that, because we are aware that after 2027, Gauteng itself and the whole of the Vaal River system will be showing signs of strain. In KwaZulu-Natal, the raising of the dam wall in Hazelmere to ensure long-term water supply to eThekwini is 96% complete. And 3 months ago, we went there to ensure this. And this project is due to be completed in the third quarter of 2022, if not earlier, at a cost of 800 million. The Umkomazi Water Project is also aimed at delivering long-term additional water to eThekwini and Umgungundlovu areas. It will come at a cost of 23 billion by 2028. And again, we have been assured by experts that if this project is not completed by this period or earlier, eThekwini and Umgungundlovu areas, including Herigwala municipality, and Uku municipality and Ilembe, they will suffer in terms of water. So it's imperative that we complete this project on time. The project is at pre-funding stage with funding to be raised by TCTA, and construction is expected to start earlier than 2025. This past Monday, the 9th of May 2022, we officially launched the 24 billion Olifants River Water Resource Development Project, which will be implemented as a PPP with mining companies to fast-track water delivery to communities and mines in Sekhukhune and Mkhalakwana municipalities in Limpopo by 2028. We're pleased to announce this because it has been a project that we've been discussing with Libalelo Water User Association. And finally, we celebrated this in Cape Town in the evening of last Monday. This is a project that we are sure that not only the department, but South Africa will be proud of once it is started and once it has been completed, with the first drop coming at some point. That is what we are looking forward to. So we appreciate the availability of this partnership that has been crafted with the Libalelo Water Users Association. The government and the mining companies will each fund approximately 50% of the project, which will be implemented by Libalelo, as we've said. And the project is at approval stage with some of the work package at pre-construction stage, and construction is anticipated to begin later this year. The 1.2 billion Tembisile low scope bulk water supply project in Mpumalanga is aimed at addressing water supply challenges in the Tembisile local municipality. The project will provide 23 megaliters of water to communities in Mpumalanga and Limpopo provinces. The project is at procurement stage and will be implemented over a 3-year period from May 2022 to April 2025. But I must say that I've gone out to speak to the Director General in our department to ask him to think harder and see if we can't start earlier due to pressure in terms of delivery of water from this particular project. It goes beyond the boundary of Mpumalanga and Limpopo, and it will have a major impact to communities out there, including Mutse, who have been grieving for water for a long time. And in a short while, we will be planning to meet them once we are sure that the project has been completely packaged so that we are able to deliver water via this one. We are at work on the matter. The Vaal Gamagara water supply scheme is critical for both mining and potable water supply in the Northern Cape. Phase 1 is 96% complete at a cost of 1.4 billion rand, with phase 2 starting later this year at an estimate of 10 billion rand. And this project is very important. We went out to Northern Cape and we completed a discussion on phase 2. And we're happy that we have a very healthy relationship with the mining houses there. And we will ensure that before the end of this year, that project get to a starting point without any delay and derailment. Similarly to the Olifants River project in Limpopo, this project is also being implemented in the PPP, that is public-private collaboration with mining houses, with roughly equal financial contribution from government and the mines. This partnership as a concept and as a strategy and is going to be the pillar of our strategy going forward. Because government alone can't deliver, and it can't be government alone because of shortages of money and other related problems. And therefore, we are happy that this partnership is between government and the private sector is taking root. We recently commissioned the Mretele South Pipeline in the Northwest. It's a 60-kilometer pipe which will be operated and maintained by Magalies Water Board, and which will benefit, among others, villages of Mretele local municipalities, namely Carousel View, Derdach, Bosplas, Ativestad, Makapanstad, and quite a host of others that the mayor there counted when we were together launching this particular project. Now this one is complete. This one is delivering water, and it liberates those communities from what has been happening, where they were dependent on water from Tshwane, which would be only twice a week. And it was a constraint to those people in the context of water being a right. And therefore, we're happy that they will now get water 7 days a week, 24/7 in terms of hours. And we're appealing to communities there to look after the infrastructure. And we're sure that Magalies will maintain our infrastructure there to the best of their ability, as agreed. To increase water security in the west coast of Cederberg in the Western Cape, we have resumed construction work to raise the wall of Klein Willem Dam at a cost of 3.2 billion. The advanced infrastructure is complete, and work in the dam wall is starting this month. It is due to be completed in 2026. In addition, we're implementing the Brownflay Dam Project in the Western Cape. This is a 21 million project, which involves the construction of a feeder canal, which will provide additional 33 megaliters of water for storage in the dam, unlocking the agricultural growth in the area. We went there and we launched the program, and we know that work is underway in that particular place. Together, we're working together with the Western Cape government on this matter, and we're pleased that we're talking about something that we've seen and it is underway. On groundwater, this year, the World Water Day was celebrated under the theme, Making the Invisible Visible, highlighting the importance of exploring groundwater as an alternative water source. Groundwater is already the main source of water for large parts of the country, including the Karoo, Northern Cape, and Western Cape, and parts of Limpopo, KZN, and the Eastern Cape. And the use in respect of it needs to be managed carefully for it to be sustainable. We're happy to say that this is something that we're wanting to concentrate on and focus on in the from now onwards. On water use licenses, we are sticking to the 90 days as a period within which each water license application must be completed. We've put together a team, we've trained them, and we're on course to deliver on this particular one. It is very important that we deliver these licenses without any delay, and we want to be held accountable on this matter whenever there is a problem. On water boards, we announced later after our summit that we'll be reviewing our water boards in terms of number for economies of scale, but we'll also be reviewing them in terms of their work areas and also in terms of their mandate. We have taken steps in this regard. We've dissolved or disestablished Citibank Water Board, and we continue with our work to improve efficiencies, but also to ensure that water boards are able to raise funds independently and are able to then come with additional assistance to the needy communities. But we will continue to work very close to municipalities, especially those that have no capacity to deliver water, and put our water boards close to those municipalities so that they can render this service without any delay, this without interfering with constitutional and other legislative frameworks with regard to the role of municipalities. But we are urging municipalities to put water delivery above any other thing so that communities don't suffer as a result of rhetoric, which in some cases may not be necessary. Honorable members, at this stage, I want to indicate that Honorable Deputy Minister Mahlobo will later speak on the catchment management agencies, the raw water strategy, and a few other policy-related matters. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. The next speaker is the Honorable Mashego. The Honorable Mashego. Is the Honorable Mashego on the platform? The Honorable Mashego. If the Honorable member is not available, then we'll proceed to the next speaker, the Honorable Basson.
Good morning, Chairperson. Thank you very much. South Africa is one of the few countries in the world that enshrines the basic right to sufficient water in its constitution. Although we acknowledge that progress has been made, much remains to be done to fulfill that right. The department's legislative mandate ensures that the country's water resources are protected, managed, and controlled by regulating and supporting effective water supply and sanitation delivery. Before we unpack our water and sanitation challenges, allow me to congratulate Dr. Sean Phillips with his appointment as Director General for Water and Sanitation. Dr. Phillips, the DA fully supports your appointment, and we trust that you will not be bogged down by political interference in cleaning up and fixing the Department of Water and Sanitation. Chairperson, as we all know, water and sanitation is in a bad state, still affected by a toxic Nomvula Mokonyane virus and must be cleaned up now. Furthermore, Minister Sisulu also added her flavor in confusing matters by appointing advisory committees that duplicated work being done in the department, costing ratepayers 63 million rand. The DA congratulates Minister Senzo Nchunu for dissolving the Sisulu Advisory Committee, saving us millions. Minister, the SIU must follow up on the 35 million kickback paid out on the SAP contract. Where did the money go and who benefited? Chairperson, we received the 2022 Blue Drop Progress Report on 1,186 water purification systems in the country that cleans 31,911 million liters of drinking water every day. The report reveals that 48% of the country's water supply systems were judged to be low risk, 18% medium risk, and 34% in high and critical risk. This result is shocking. Now the question, how safe is our drinking water? To answer this, I quote from the report. Although some regions have performed better than others, DWS is concerned about the poor water quality in the country. Hierdie resultate is skokkend en moet dringend aangespreek word. The 2022 Green Drop report covers 995 wastewater treatment works in the country, and the outcome just confirms the DA's warning over the last 8 years of oversight on the critical state of our water infrastructure. Chairperson, let's unpack this report. Only 23 wastewater treatment works qualified for the Green Drop certification, compared to 60 in 2013. This is a 260% drop in Green Drop certification since 2013. 78% of Limpopo's wastewater treatment works have the highest critical risk in the country, with the Western Cape with the lowest critical risk with only 11%. That's not all, Chairperson. Listen to this. The report shows that 102 out of the 115 wastewater treatment plants under control of Minister De Lille and her department is in critical risk, with an average Green Drop score of only 12%. This implies to a 90% failure under her leadership. Minister De Lille, first you gave us the 40 million rand washing line, and now you are dumping 40 million liters of real shit into the country's rivers and streams every day. What a disgrace. We need to take firm action against polluters and issue huge fines and lock up those responsible for pollution. Minister, we must now implement the polluter must pay principle. South Africa's water infrastructure is at risk of failure, and this deepening crisis requires leaders from all role players in the water sector to address these challenges. The DA believes that through meaningful public-private partnership, a solution can be found. Water specialists indicated that more than 900 billion will be needed in the next 10 years on infrastructure to avoid a full-scale water crisis. We must also note that 100 billion is needed on mega infrastructure projects with only 4 billion available. Chairperson, we can't keep on running water infrastructure if we don't look after it. If you don't maintain it, it will break, and then bang, suddenly you hit the cliff and the entire infrastructure collapse. This is starting to happen in some areas in this country. Minister, die DA se boodskap aan u is baie duidelik. Wanneer Suid-Afrika se waterinfrastruktuur in duie stort, sal dit 56 miljoen mense affekteer, ryk of arm, swart of wit. Dit sal geweldige druk plaas op die Suid-Afrikaanse ekonomie en voedselsekerheid. Minister, you have your work cut out for you. But unfortunately, Minister, your ANC government has dropped the ball and is not living up to the slogan, water is life, sanitation is dignity. And so, Chairperson, South Africans continue to suffer without water, not because of drought, but because of corruption and mismanagement by this ANC government. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Is the Honourable Mashego ready to debate? The Honourable Mashego?
Yes, I am, Chairperson.
Please proceed. Honourable Mashego?
Where is the thing, sir?
You are audible, Honourable Member. You may proceed. Honourable Mashego? Honourable members,
Honourable Chair.
Honourable Chair, I can read.
Honourable Chair.
Who is the Honourable Moshlala?
Honourable Chair. Honourable Chair.
Honourable Chair.
Chairperson, I'm ready.
Honourable Chair, can Honourable Chris take it?
Honourable members of the ANC, I can't listen to all of you at the same time. Can I listen to the Honourable Khadebe?
Thank you, Chairperson. Can Honourable Chris do the speech of Honourable Mashego, please? She's the last one on the side of the ANC.
Honorable Member, I've now already called the Honorable Moshlala. I'll ask the Honorable Tek to follow after the Honorable Moshlala. The Honorable Moshlala.
No, thanks so much, Chairperson, for the opportunity. Chairperson, the EFF reject budget vote 41 on water and sanitation. The grave matter of lack of water and sanitation services to millions of our people without these services deserves an extraordinary approach from a government that cares for the people, not this lackadaisical attitude shown by the Department of Water and Sanitation. As things stand now, your own National Water and Sanitation Master Plan shows that over 5.3 million households in this country do not have access to clean water services. Your own Water and Sanitation Master Plan shows a growing gap between water supply and water demand in the country and estimates that if no significant investments are made to beef up water infrastructure and promote conservation of water services, supply will at least demand by over 17% in 2030. That is in 8 years from now, Minister. But what impactful investment in water infrastructure has the department done? What forms of water conservation practices have been initiated? The department is fiddling while the country is on the precipice of water disaster. Without a bold plan to avert this water shortage disaster, the country will face a water crisis worse than the electricity disaster we are currently facing with the failing ESCOM. We need bold action now. We're already seeing the consequences of this neglect of water demand problem in municipalities such as Makana and Nelson Mandela Metro in the Eastern Cape. We're already seeing the desperation caused by lack of water in communities around Limpopo, who depend on boreholes for their water. This department and municipalities cannot even install boreholes for our communities. As we speak, Minister, Mosina is burning. There's no water. The water boards that have been used as playgrounds for the ruling party's patronage politics and which has been factories for producing the most corrupt activities must be revamped and refocused towards building water infrastructure and delivering water services. The artificial separation between this department's mandate and the municipality responsibility in delivering water must be addressed. If no executive oversight is given on the infrastructure projects that have been initiated, and if the Lesotho Highland Water Project is not expedited, Gauteng will experience serious water shortages before the end of this decade. Protest over water will become commonplace across the country, and social unrest will risk tipping this country over. South Africa's large water and sanitation projects currently under construction are behind schedule, with some facing delays of more than 5 years. Almost all of them failed to meet their initial deadlines. Project in the planning phase, upgrading the Olifants Board and Ebenezer Water Supply Scheme in Limpopo have not clear deadlines. This is the same for other projects, such as the long-standing Giani Bulk Water Supply Project, also in Limpopo. The Giani interventions was conceived in 2014 to supply the surrounding villages with clean drinking water and be completed within 5 years. After details of corruption emerged on the project, with a lengthy investigation, the date for completion was shifted to December 2022 and now March 2023. Other examples of inefficiencies in completing bulk water and sanitation infrastructure are the Masodi Wastewater Management Project. Projects are not restricted to Limpopo. However, missed deadlines, wasteful expenditure, and poor planning of bulk infrastructure projects have become the norm in almost all of the country. Every large project in the Eastern Cape have been delayed. The Mzimbovu Dam Project was started in February 2015, and the target completion date was May 2023. This deadline will obviously not be met as well. The North Kedal Kueka Low-Level Scheme and the James Kleinhans Bulk Water Supply Project, both in the Eastern Cape, will also be delayed. In the Western Cape, the raising of Glen William Dam Wall was initially to be completed in November 2021. Challenges have pushed the deadline to June 2026. The Tembisile Regional Water Supply Project in Mpumalanga was due for completion in 2022, but this is now moved to 2024. The Brett's water treatment works in Northwest, started in 2007, was meant to take 7 years to complete, but will only complete its second phase in 2023. Pollution of our river system, spillages of effluents, dysfunctional wastewater treatment works, and water treatment plants are daily occurrences in different parts of the country. Linked to bulk water and sanitation infrastructure are the operations and maintenance of the infrastructure. The National Department of Water and Sanitation appropriates billions of rands each year for built water and sanitation infrastructure, only to have all that money going down the drain. The recently published Green Drop Report 2022 is testimony to the country failing water and sanitation infrastructure. We reject this report. We condemn the incompetence and corruption of the ANC, and we encourage our people to keep asserting their rights to water and sanitation by all means necessary. Amandla.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Is the Honourable Teke?
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and good morning, everyone. I'll read the speech on behalf of the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Water and Sanitation, Honourable Mashego. Honourable Chairperson, water is life, sanitation is dignity. The Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, Section 27, subsection 1B, states that everyone has the right to access to sufficient food and water, and that the state take reasonable legislative and other measures within its available resource to achieve the progressive realization of these rights. As the African National Congress, we are convinced that the Department of Water and Sanitation and its entities, Budget Vote 41, who take forward the building of the water infrastructure today to secure the future of the next generation. Honourable Chairperson, since the African National Congress took over the running of this government in 1994, there is a lot that has been done, and there's still a lot that we are doing and in ensuring that our people have access to clean drinking water and adequate sanitation. The ministers elaborated on that. Our democratic government took a decision to provide free basic services such as water and sanitation for indigent households. Currently, each indigent household in formal settlement with taps in their yards are entitled to 6 kiloliters of water per month and have been provided with adequate sanitation in the form of flushing toilets. As per the United States Nation Sustainable Development Goals report for 2021, it indicates that in 2017, 92.7% of the population had access to basic drinking water, while a 75.7% of the population had access to basic sanitation. Honourable members, ours is to ensure that every household has access to basic services, irrespective where they reside. The Department of Water and Sanitation and its entities has this financial year committed to implement major water projects to augment national bulk water resources infrastructure. For this financial year, the department and its entities would be spending an amount of 12.7 billion for the development, rehabilitation and refurbishment of the raw water resources and water service infrastructure in our country. We further welcome the report by the department and its entities that they will be implementing and finalizing 2 mega projects, 24 large and 28 small bulk water infrastructure. And that report was presented to the Portfolio Committee, and Honourable Motlhala was part of that. Honourable members and Honourable Chair, as the department and its entities, we continue to provide bulk water infrastructure. We must ensure that when infrastructure is handed over to the various water service authorities, there is capacity to maintain and operate the new or refurbished infrastructure. The country's population rely on the 144 water service authorities for the provision of water and sanitation services. The department has acknowledged that there are key challenges facing the Water Services Authority as it relates to technical capacity, investment in and maintenance of the water and sanitation infrastructure. As African National Congress, we welcome the intervention already made by Minister Mtonu to support these municipalities where there is failure to meet minimum water and sanitation national standards. We are hopeful that by the end of financial year, Parliament will finalize the intergovernmental monitoring, support and intervention bill. The bill will ensure that the national government is able to regulate the implementation and provide the processes for an effective and efficient intervention in the Water Services Authority. Honorable Chair, the ANC government is committed in the provision of water services to all its citizens. However, in order for the local municipalities to be able to deliver water quality and sanitation services, it is also dependent on its ability to collect the water tariffs. As the ANC, we support the introduction of the water principle and water user principle, and it must be enforced to ensure that the Water Services authorities are financially viable entities. Our support for the water user pay principle is cognizance of the vast majority of our people, as the vast majority of our people are indigent. Therefore, we encourage those Water Services Authority to apply for indigent funding from the National Treasury. Honorable Chairperson, we know that municipalities are owed huge sums of money by residents, which then means that these municipalities or huge sums of money to various water boards. We have recommended the department must come up with ways of improving debt collection by these municipalities. Further, encourage the department to assist local municipalities to ensure that their billing systems and revenue mechanisms are strengthened. Honorable members, central to this to the government infrastructure development in the socio-economic development of the surrounding communities. President Ramaphosa, in his State of Nation address, made a commitment that government will be undertaking a far-reaching consensus of measures to unleash the potential of small businesses, micro businesses and informal businesses, as they are the ones that create the most jobs and provide most opportunities for the poor to earn a living. Indeed, the department and its entities have responded to the President's instruction of ensuring that small and micro enterprises benefit in government programs. The department have set aside 40% of procurement to be spent for women, while the youth and people with disabilities will be allocated 30% and 7% respectively. Further, there are 165 direct job opportunities that will be created through the implementation of the augmentation of infrastructure and operation of water resource project. An additional 450 jobs will be created through the implementation of the RBIC Regional Bulk Infrastructure Grant. We believe that the sector has a potential of creating more job opportunities. Hence, in our portfolio committee, we have recommended that the department and its entities must provide a quarterly report on the socio-economic impact in terms of the number of jobs created and the number of small and medium enterprises benefiting from the various water and sanitation infrastructure projects. Honorable Chair, honorable members, there are a number of grants that are allocated to municipalities from various government departments, which are meant to address water and sanitation services. The experience has shown that most of our local municipalities are not able to spend the monies allocated to them as the result of lack of planning, budgeting, and coordination of the various grants that they received from the national department. To remedy the situation, the President announced the implementation of the DDM, that's the District Development Model, as the government approached the national department and their entities, gave the necessary technical and financial support to local municipalities in the implementation of the One Plan, One Budget. We have recommended to the department and its entities to align their APP along the District Development Model. By doing that, the department will make it possible for the portfolio committee to play an effective and efficient oversight over the spending of the various grants to Water Services Authority. The DDM strengthens transparency and accountability on the use of taxpayers' money. Honorable Chair, we are confident that the measures contained in the department and its entities will build water infrastructure that will secure the future of the next generation. Once again, as African National Congress, we support 100% the budget vote 41 as presented by the Minister of Department of Water and Sanitation. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker is the Honourable Sitole.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson. I'm reading this on behalf of Honourable S.A. Buthelezi, who is the main member of Water and Sanitation. Honourable Chairperson, water is not a supplement to our daily living. It is, in fact, very necessary to our existence. And surprisingly, the Department of Water and Sanitation is one of the most important and core vehicles to the sustainability of the population of South Africa. Vast quantities of country's water services are under stress. Dilapidated and insufficient. The dependence of water by all further emphasizes the importance of taking no nonsense when it comes to protecting these vital resources. One of the major challenges of recent has been seen in the province of KwaZulu-Natal and part of the Eastern Cape. Flood damage was exposed to adequate attention to water infrastructure. However, KZN and the Eastern Cape are not the only affected provinces. In Gauteng, it is reported that water links due to poor infrastructure resulted in a loss of water, half of all water, a loss that is estimated to sit at around 500 million rand in our municipality. Before the flood affected KZN, water infrastructure was already in a state of collapse. Anyone who stands here today and claims that the problem with water infrastructure is as a result of unforeseen circumstances of the flood damage is attempting to mislead the House and the citizen of the country. The truth of the matter is that there was no maintenance plan for water reticulations infrastructure in KZN. There is solid evidence to support this, as a budget for KZN and eThekwini in particular was almost entirely spent on the operational requirement of the water reticulations system. The eThekwini councillors before the flood estimated that a plan to fix and upgrade the reticulation process, which include pump system down to the pipes, require a budget of about 1 billion per year over a period of 10 years. This means that a special budget over and above generally operation need to be adequately repair existing infrastructure, as their losses set about 54% of the reticulations water. The IP has over the past been bringing the importance of water infrastructure to the attention of this House and to the department. It has, however, seen to have fallen over deaf ears. In this parliament, we have asked whether an audit had been done on all the water infrastructure that needed repair in the country, and the minister could not have given us a definite answers. Now that we are forced into crisis, we have to accept any half-baked ideas how to fix and repair our infrastructure, of wise balancing the growing demand and reliance on water. The department should seize the opportunity at this point to draft a well-organized budget in that would address the flood-affected areas and then move on to other areas that is under needs of water. Without a plan to address the swelling and threatening water infrastructure shortcoming in South Africa, we are simply planning to fall the people of this country. The IFP do support the budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The next speaker is the Honourable May. The Honourable May.
Dankie voorsitter. Suid-Afrika het die afgelope 6 maande baie goeie reën ontvang met die uitsondering van die gebiede bo kan die Nelson Mandela damme. Ongeag die goeie reënval bly die kraan oor groot dele van Suid-Afrika nog droog. Die verslag meld dat alle inwoners van Suid-Afrika teen 2030 bekostigbare, betroubare toegang tot genoegsame skoon water en sanitasie moet verkry. Op die stadium blyk dit slegs 'n droom te wees. In dele van die Vrystaat, Parys, Condenville en Tumahole was die gebied 66 dae sonder water. Tydens die sitting van 7 September 2021 het agbare Tammy Breed van die Vryheidsfront Plus 'n lidverklaring oor Lekwato se water gedoen. Die adjunkminister van water en sanitasie het gereageer en bevestig dat hulle ondersoek ingestel het en 26,5 miljoen bewillig het. Die munisipaliteit dra geen kennis daarvan nie. Die situasie bly net versleg. Die waterkrisis in die Nelson Mandela Metro duur al vir byna 7 jaar. Die Vryheidsfront het sedert 2019 permanent tydens toesprake vir 'n slag gedoen oor die dreigende waterkrisis. Niks is aan die situasie gedoen nie. Ek het in 2019 daarop gewys dat ons sê ons is een van die 30 droogste lande in die wêreld. Dit is nie waar nie. Ons het genoeg water, maar ontbreek aan genoeg damme om daardie water op te gaar. Die massas water wat see toe vloei moet opgegaar word en herlei word na droër dele in Suid-Afrika. Dink net aan die groot getal werksgeleenthede wat geskep word. Ek wil vandag spesifiek verwys na die Nelson Mandela Metro. Die gemiddelde damvlakke is vandag 12,81%. Binne 30 dae gaan 40% van die inwoners van die Nelson Mandela Metro geen water tot hul beskikking hê nie. Ek wil herhaal, binne 30 dae gaan 40% van die inwoners van die Nelson Mandela Metro geen water tot hul beskikking hê nie. Dit sluit ook in die grootste gevangenis in die Oos-Kaap, namens die St. Albans gevangenis. Dit sal een van die grootste rampe in die geskiedenis van Suid-Afrika wees. Beskeie redes kan genoem word waarom daar so baie water vermors word. Eerstens is dit die inwoners van die metro wat nie vir water betaal nie en dis nie omgee oor die hoeveelheid water wat hulle vermors nie. Die nooit gedag watersuiweringsprojek wat gevoed word uit die water van die Gariepdam is vertraag oor betalingsdispuut. Die kontrakteur het sy kontrak in 2021 beëindig omdat Amatola Waterraad nie 'n betaling van 1,9 miljoen betaal het nie. Die projek moes in September 2021 al voltooi gewees het. Die nooit gedag watersuiwering is 'n projek van die Departement van Water en Sanitasie. Ek wil net noem dat dit so belangrik is dat daai projek vinnig voltooi moet word. Aangesien dit voorsien tans 170 megaliter water per dag en as die fase 3 voltooi is dit verdere 40 megaliter per dag. Die Vryheidsfront dagbestuur het so 5 weke gelede die nooit gedag waterprojek besoek. En ek wil nou vir die een ding sê, daar word hard gewerk en dan die oponthoud onnodig was. Maar wat is die korttermyn oplossing in die Nelson Mandela Metro? In 2019 het ek 'n beroep gedoen op die minister van Waterwese, agbare Sezulu, dat geen bouplan goedgekeur moet word en nie daar nie voorsiening gemaak is vir die opgaan van water deur middel van watertanks nie. Die grootte van die woning se dak moet bepaal hoeveel water gestoor moet word. Elke huis wat gebou word moet voorsien word van 'n geete en 'n 5000 liter tank. Dit moet op 'n sementfondasie geplaas word om diefstal te voorkom. Waarom is dit so belangrik? In die metro, aanderkant die opvangsgebied was die reënval goed, onderkant die opvangsgebied was die reënval goed en sou die watertanks gereeld vol word. Ek wil vandag 'n beroep op die minister van Water en Sanitasie doen. Begin onmiddellik met die oprigting van watertanks. Ek wil vir u sê, die krisis is geweldig, maar ons kan nog 'n oplossing vind. Voorsitter, ek wil afsluit. Ek dink min mense besef in watter situasie die Oos-Kaap bevind. En daarom as gelowige wil ek sê, kom ons as gelowiges, kom ons glo en hoop dat God ons damme in hierdie 30 dae sal vul. Dankie voorsitter.
Baie dankie, agbare my. Do we have a speaker from the ACDP on the platform? If not, we'll then proceed. And the next speaker is the Honorable Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation, the Honorable Mashlobo.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Chair of Chairs, Comrade Frolik, the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Matsingwan, and other ministers that are here, Deputy Minister Makatsi and other Deputy Ministers, Honorable Comrade Temi Machodina, our Whip and Deputy Chief Whip, Comrade Lagote, the Chair of our committee, Comrade Mashiho, and our Whip of Committee, Comrade Grace, Honorable Members of Parliament, our DG and Senior Managers, the leadership of our entities, esteemed guests and fellow South Africans. Your Excellencies, comrades and friends, many citizens across the globe, they continue to perish. Economies have stagnated while exposing inequalities that are existing amongst nations due to the continued devastating impact of COVID-19, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, as well as global security and geopolitical tensions. In our country, we've experienced COVID-19, July 2021, violent unrest affecting KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng, and recently the untold suffering caused by the floods in KZN, some parts of the Eastern Cape, Northwest, and the fires that ravaged more than 300 shacks in the Western Cape. I'm joining Minister Mtuni in paying our last respect to all those who lost their lives due to the matters I've raised. Their memories will live on because they remain embedded in our minds and in our hearts. These are the heroes and heroines that have already succumbed, including the rescue worker that actually passed on in KwaZulu-Natal. The only way that we must know that COVID-19 continue to be with us, the virus is mutating, there are new strains that are emerging, and the only way to stop the spread is through our behavior as individual and collectively. Let's support the campaign and the program by President and government of vaccination and frown upon those who continue to spread the false narrative about vaccine. Water is an integral part of the ecosystem, a natural resource and a social and economic good whose quantity and quality determine the nature of utilization. Water in our region can become limiting because of a number of challenges that are there. Our water systems are more vulnerable in the region because of issues of climate change and the issues of annual variation in terms of rainfall, but also issues of evaporation that we see. Your Excellency, South Africa does not have a national water crisis at present. However, a number of serious problems we experience currently, they could pose to be the seeds of future crises. Therefore, our water-related problems could have a negative impact, causing our country's socio-economic imperatives to take the turn for the worse. We must also be mindful of climate change that has a significant impact, causing floods through limited, in some areas in our localities, the drought that we've seen in some parts of the country, as the minister has spoken to. Many opportunities that are offered by the water sector in development and social transformation will have to be exploited very positively. We are on course with Minister Mtuni and Makatsi to ensure that we harness water security in South Africa for the benefit of all. We will also be deploying technology that is very disruptive to ensure that we are fully secure as a country. And the international experts are also saying that not primarily that the results of security, but we must recognize that water security is determined by the success or failure of country's social and economic importance. Therefore, urgent measures are being taken by the minister, as indicated in his address, to ensure that our water system, they remain the lifeblood of the nation around the whole country. We are also on course in achieving the UN SDG goals, Chair. We must indicate that the ANC government over the last 28 years, we have done well to ensure that access to water to many South Africa. As we speak, access to water stands about 90%, access to sanitation around 83%. But we, as the ministry, were the first to admit that more still needs to be done, especially for rural communities. As directed by the President and the Minister, we shall leave no South African behind when it comes to issues of access to water and sanitation. We are increasing our capability on research, working with our Water Research Commission, CSIR, and the other institutions, and also ensuring partnerships that Minister I have spoken to in investing in skills revolution, climate change mitigation strategies, and technologies required for the current epoch and the future demands. Our department, as promised before, honorable members, we have delivered on our promise to regulate water and sanitation in our country. We have delivered on the promise of the relaunch of the blue drop and the green drop status, and the report is actually available. We have seen how many water treatment works that have been looked at. This report now, it must be able to demonstrate the commitment by Minister to ensure that we transform our thinking of the wastewater treatment system. We must start to use science and engineering to ensure that we have the capability to treat wastewater to acceptable standard. We must also be able to use this resource like we've done with Ivan plants and Mukhala Kwena through Minister Mtunu, when we actually signed the Masodi treatment plant that is actually going to use raw water for these issues. And we want to confirm that even Pulugwane, they are also with Anglo, they are looking at this. We managed to do this thing within less than 3 months. Our partnerships are actually working. One of the issues around regulation is the issues of the price of water that has been escalating over some time. Minister Mtunu will be working with Minister of Finance. They will be able to ensure that our raw water pricing strategy is concluded before the end of this financial year in the third quarter, because we want to create certainty and be able to do investment. Also, the other issue we're dealing with is issues of polluter pay principles. There's a lot of pollution that is happening. We want to confirm that our waste charge discharge system is being piloted in the 3 catchment management catchment areas. We want a zero charging to ensure that all our systems are working before implemented in the next financial year. Polluters are warned, they must stop pollution or they will pay. We're also doing subsidies for resource poor farmers, and we're striving to improve transparency around water allocation reform. Working with the Minister of Agriculture, the issues of vallards will be supporting those communities in the Northern Cape and the other irrigation schemes. Our anti-pollution task team is working hard, led by myself. We are actually have dealt with the pollution in the Val. There are areas where the sewer is no longer spilling into communities, but more work still needs to be done in the Val system so that we don't pollute Free State, Mpumalanga, and Northern Cape and Namibia. But more importantly, even in Kronstadt, issues of spillages, they must come to an end. We are doing there are environmental inspectors that we've brought in. There is a multidisciplinary team that are doing audits, more than 480 audits. They have also been done by the department. These are some of the issues that we wanted to highlight, but more importantly, we're also attending to the issues of sewer spillage that is happening in supporting eThekwini as they are actually recovering from the issues of the drought. We will also want to indicate we will publish the first no-drop report by March 2023. We are introducing that, Your Excellencies. Around dam safety, we are working around the bulk infrastructure to maintain them and ensure safety of our people, because we don't want to be losing more people. But at the very same time, we want our dams to be used by communities, the areas around them for recreation, so the communities, they can be in a position themselves to benefit. We are proceeding with issues of institutional reform. Our catchment management agencies will be there. Currently, those 3 that we are actually expanding to the 6 proto-CMAs. We are looking at their roles and responsibilities and giving them more powers. Around water pricing and tariffs, the water regulatory economic regulator is on board. We are concluding that, and the 2 ministers, they will have a concurrence. We want also to ensure that we create jobs, Chair, through our own program of infrastructure development, water conservation, wastewater treatment, turnaround strategies, but also using asset management. As a department, we remain steadfast and on course towards building a truly united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic society as envisioned in the Freedom Charter and our Constitution. As indicated in my introduction, Chair, the challenges we face, they are too big, but they are not insurmountable. Our collective effort and resilience of our nation, it will see us through. Let us remain vigilant of the dangers faced by our revolutionary advancements, but we should never be rigid, inflexible, or inactive to change. We remain inspired by our shared aspiration and by the desire to create and fulfill our promise of a better life for all. God bless South Africa, her sons and daughters. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Honorable members, the next speaker is the Honorable Siposengwe. And after the conclusion of this member's speech, the Honorable Mashlauli will preside over the remainder of this mini plenary. I now recognize the Honorable Siposengwe.
Thank you, Chairperson. Through our research and innovation, will lead to new water and sanitation technologies. Honorable Chairperson, as the African National Congress, we support the Department of Water and Sanitation and its entities budget for Vote 41. We're convinced that through research and innovation conducted by the Water Research Commission will lead to the creation of new water and sanitation technologies that will positively impact our society. Funding must be made available for research and innovation. Honorable Chair, knowledge production through quality research is very critical for the development of our society. However, the research process is costly and take a long time to produce quality results. We acknowledge the fact that in our country, we have a public entity that is dedicated for water and sanitation research to inform government policy and decision-making processes. For 2021 to 22 financial year, the Water Research Commission received an allocation of an amount of 296,765 rand, while for this current financial year, it received an amount of 361 million from the National Department of Water and Sanitation. As the African National Congress acknowledge the amount of the allocation, we are of the view that we are serious about the development of the new technologies, which will have a huge socio-economic impact in our country. The budget for the Water Research Commission should be increased. The increase of the budget will mean that the department will be able to recruit and retain critical skills within its employ. Further, it will mean that the new technologies produced by the Commission will be government-owned, with the government having IP returns on that knowledge. Concerning climate change compliant innovation, Honorable Chairperson, we have experienced the impacts of climate change in our country. The recent droughts in certain parts of the country, as you will have heard of the recent devastating and calamitous situation in Keheba and the surrounding areas, but also the April into the impact of climate change in various vulnerable communities in our country. Honorable Chairperson, we're happy to report that the Water Research Commission early this year launched a project entitled the Adaptive Response and Local Scale Adaptation for Improving Water Security Resilience to Climate Change in selected communities in Guyana, in the Limpopo province. According to the Water Research Commission, the main objective of the project is to make local communities from Guyana area climate resilient by developing water energy amenities that both address water shortages, but also stimulate economic activity and growth. Last Wednesday, it was reported in the Daily Dispatch in an Eastern Cape provincial newspaper that residents of Masele under the Ndlambe local municipality had to walk more than 5 kilometers to the nearest river to get water. Ndlambe local municipalities is one of our municipalities which have their dams affected by climate change, and a desalination water plant has already been commissioned and operational. The Water Research Commission key focal area for this financial year is on desalination of seawater, the outcomes of which will be of much assistance to other communities which have the same experiences as Masele community. New and innovative equipment within the water and sanitation sector will create new industries. Honorable Chairperson, the new and innovative equipment must not only deal with service delivery challenges as they relate to water and sanitation, but most also address the socio-economic development of our communities through the development of new industries. This is one of the key strategic goals of the Water Research Commission, which is to produce new intellectual property or have the ability to introduce innovations that create new or improved technologies, products, and services that can be used in the real economy. Honorable Chairperson, as the Portfolio Committee, we have noted that a number of new technologies produced through research conducted by the Water Research Commission is underutilized by the government. We have recommended that the Department of Water and Sanitation, Water Research Commission, the Department of Trade and Industry, and Competition with the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs should collaborate to ensure the uptake and develop industry for the mass production of new water and sanitation technologies. Mass production of these new water and sanitation technologies will contribute in job creation and economic growth in the country. Through new innovative water and sanitation system, will fast-track service delivery. Honorable Chair, we believe that through new innovative water and sanitation system, our government will be able to fast-track service delivery. The Water Research Commission is committed in addressing the backlog in water and sanitation delivery in our country, with a particular focus on sanitation in our public schools. We commend the work that the Commission has undertaken in this regard. Close to 4,000 public schools have no adequate sanitation facilities in our country. In response to this challenge, the Water Research Commission, in collaboration with the Department of Education, have initiated a program of sanitation appropriate for education initiative by piloting a new innovative next generation technology. Key to this new technology is the ability of the sanitation system to treat wastewater for reuse within the same system. The project has been implemented at the Chuletsehang Primary School in Gauteng Province. Using new technologies as an alternative to flushing toilet system, Honorable Chairperson, South Africa is a water scarce country. Therefore, we must ensure that we utilize innovative sanitation technologies that will save fresh water use. According to the Water Research Commission, between 40% and 50% of household water consumption is used for domestic sewage. It is with this background that Water Research Commission has directed new research for alternative innovative sanitation system. The programmed research would be done under the Sanitation Transformation Initiative, which is called Sanity, which not only seek to address the sanitation challenges in our country, but also ensure that new industries emerge out of this research to create jobs and the socio-economic development of the various communities in our country. Water conservation and water resource management, Honorable Chairperson. Water availability is not only reliant on the rainfall that the country receives in a particular year, but it is also about the ability of the country to conserve, harness, and harvest our potable water. One of the challenges facing the country is water leaks. The Department of Water and Sanitation have implemented a war on water leaks program to deal with the scourge of water leaks in our municipalities, which municipalities must embrace, as that is where the war on leaks will be lost or won. The Water Research Commission has produced a new technology, AquaTrip, which detects leaks, then switch off water supply, and it reports the leak to a main system so that the leak can be attended to by municipality officials. This new technology will not only deal with water leaks, but will conserve water in our country. Honorable Chairperson, we support the budget for vote 41 with the full knowledge of the strides that are being made by the department and its entities in the provision of clean drinking water and for proper sanitation services for our people. Ga ise gore department e ya rona e ha e dirise jaaka batho ba bangwe ba ba batlang go tla mo ba tla go complain ba complainetse ruri ba sa kgone go tla ka ditšholofetšo ba sa kgone go tla ka ditharabololo tse di matshwanetse ke a leboga.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Can I check if we have a speaker from AIC? AIC?
Yes, Chair, the AIC Chair, but it needs to be one that right for the sure that this to achieve this goal.
Honorable Jafta
with government.
Honorable Jafta. Honorable Jafta.
Hello, Chair.
We can hardly hear what you are saying. Can you try and get a better connection?
I audible.
Can you go on?
Oh, okay. I will try. Maybe you'll come back to me, please.
Can you proceed now? You are better.
Oh, okay, Chair. I was saying, Chair, two things need to be emphasized here, though we support the budget vote. One is that access to clean water is a constitutional right for every South African citizen. Therefore, the department must make sure that this is with the department, the local and the districts. In areas, Honorable Chairperson, most people still struggle to get water, let alone clean water. One other thing, Honorable Chair, that we need to emphasize is that the department needs to give attention to the informal settlements. Clean water needs to be provided in these areas and improve their living conditions with regard to sewage systems. Otherwise, as I've said, Honorable Chairperson, the AIC supports the budget vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Jafta. Do we have a speaker from COPE? PAC? PAC? I now call upon the Honorable Hendricks from Al-Jamal.
Thank you very much, Honorable House Chair. Honorable House Chair, 2 million incident reports and 90,000 folders of looting and corruption in water provision and proper sanitation is a very strong indicator of a failed government department. This must be the worst government department on earth. How can the Water and Sanitation Department expect any money from the fiscus if half the money they get is expected to be looted in the new year? Once again, this will be a blot against the 6th Parliament. The HR department and its offices is an embarrassment and must be redeployed. They don't make the cut. They must immediately hold disciplinary hearings when cases arise and not drag these cases. As we speak, there are 100 new incidents, and I hope they're doing that. So money to give poor people water is continuing to be compromised. Forensic reports is an unnecessary delay. Labor discipline is based on a balance of probabilities and not onerous standards of the courts. Can the minister please tell this to the new DG? The first resistance fighters to bring down apartheid came from the former Transkei. Let me name Walter Sisulu. Yet residents are the last to get water. Their sons were hanged, persecuted, tortured, and jailed in solitary confinement. Last night, we debated how every level of staff in the Water and Sanitation Department and its entities looted 38 billion rand, and why only 1 billion rand has so far been recovered. So, if Parliament cannot deal with water catastrophe, the fourth estate is doing South Africa proud, and here I mentioned the Daily Maverick. Every word that was written will bring a drop of water to children, women, and the elderly, some dying of thirst. They must please keep this up, and other media must join them, because it doesn't seem as if Parliament and everyone else is doing proper oversight. So we must ask the media for help. This Nakba catastrophe must shock the nation. And like the minister and his chair stated, the ministers and deputy ministers before him over a decade must fall on their swords. Thank you very much, Honourable House Chair.
Thank you so much, Honourable Member. The next speaker will be Honourable Sheikh Imam.
Thank you, House Chairperson. Chairperson, this particular department is in a crisis, and it has been in a crisis for many, many years. Now, and I've said this before, Chairperson, you can bring ministers, you can change the deputy ministers, but you're not going to solve the problem in this department. I know for a long period of time, there's been acting DGs and acting DDGs. I'm not surprised, Chairperson, that there were some officials from the Alfred Nzo district that were arrested for corruption and looting, because I remember on the Standing Committee on Appropriation 6 years ago, we highlighted corruption in the Mount Aleph area. To date, that department came again and again and again, but will not divulge the information that we actually wanted. So I'm not really surprised. You know, corruption, looting, fruitless expenditure, wasteful expenditure is the order of the day. Currently, as we stand, Chairperson, can you look at the statistics? 3 million households do not have access to reliable drinking water. 14.1 million people do not have access to safe sanitation. Only 64% of households have access to reliable water supply. Now, more than 20% of South Africans do not have access to safe sanitation. I mean, how long are we going to go on? Let me give you a good example, Chairperson. 8 years ago, eThekwini had a water loss of 27%. Today, it's sitting as good as 50% water loss. How are you going to deal with the challenges that people are facing? The floods is only an excuse of what has actually happened. The infrastructure in eThekwini alone has been crumbling. Let me tell you the area of Nongoma in Zululand district. People have to walk up to 7 kilometers, Chairperson, 28 years into democracy to get some water. And we think it is okay. Clearly, I think a lot of work needs to be done. Now, look at the investigation with the corruption in this department that started by the previous minister, Minister Sisulu, and suddenly this entire thing appears to be getting suppressed. Why? Why is this investigation not being accelerated so those people that are corrupt and that are looting are brought to book? I think it is time that we change the way we conduct ourselves, Honourable Chairperson. Honourable Chairperson, we talk about pit toilets. It continues today unabated. I've got a call the other day from Mandla Masha School near Dundee in KwaZulu-Natal, where they have been told that the department is not going to be able to provide them any assistance and deal with those toilets and the water problems that they're having in those areas. Now, how long are we going to continue with this? How long are we going to employ the very same people? And that is why I say, if you're going to deal with the challenges of the flooding in KwaZulu-Natal, you can put an oversight committee, you can put billions of rand. You're relying on exactly the same expertise and skill, the people who have been failing us year in and year out. So how are you going to actually make any difference? The National Freedom Party supporting this budget vote is not doing it because we believe there's a fantastic piece of work being done. But in order to be able to make progress, of course, you're going to need the budget. But I think a lot of work needs to be done.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Member. The next speaker is Honorable Mayberg.
Thank you, House Chair, Honorable Members. It is my great honor today to address this House for the first time, and I feel privileged to be speaking in this particular debate, since water is surely the most valuable resource of them all. As we all know, water and sanitation determines both the survival and the dignity of every human being. It is non-negotiable. And yet today we are facing a looming water crisis, which has the potential to make the Eskom fiasco look like a minor hiccup. One can only hope that the recent appointment of not only a new minister, but also a new DG and CFO will bring renewed purpose and direction to a department which has until recently excelled in the fields of maladministration, fraud and theft on a scale seldom seen before. This is a department, honorable members, where literally billions of rands have gone missing. 37 billion, according to some estimates. Money that should have been spent on national water security for all through infrastructure development. Now, the most recent Blue Drop and Green Drop reports tell an alarming story all of its own. With the Western Cape, predictably, as usual, the only glimmer of hope in the wake of massive failures elsewhere in the country. Support and intervention is required in order to avert both a human and an environmental disaster. And when it comes to the various water entities across the country, the story doesn't get any better. Take, for example, the Overberg Water Board, where its failure to provide water affordably and reliably to the agricultural sector is posing a serious risk to the economic prospects of that entire region. Honourable members, the truth of the matter is that South Africa does in fact have enough water. We are blessed with abundant sources of water, which, if managed correctly, will sustain us well into the future. But what is equally true is that water is being wasted on a massive scale. Revenues are not collected, and little to no consequence management is being implemented. And so, interestingly, precisely 120 years ago, a hero of some in this House and an icon of failed states everywhere, none other than Vladimir Lenin, posed the following question when he asked, "What is to be done?" Now, although Lenin usually came up with the wrong answers, at least he understood at that moment that drastic action was required. And so, Mr. Speaker, as always, the DA today wishes to help and assist the Minister and his department in coming up with the right answers. We are, after all, a party that believes in constructive engagement. We want to see water and sanitation succeed because we want to see South Africa succeed. We believe, therefore, at a bare minimum, that the following needs to be done by the department. Firstly, support and intervention at municipalities should be prioritized where there's evidence of good governance and decent financial management. In other words, first help those who have demonstrated a track record of good governance. Secondly, demonstrate your commitment to human dignity by eradicating the bucket system everywhere in South Africa once and for all. Thirdly, clean up corruption, expedite disciplinary processes, and in addition, initiate civil and criminal court proceedings against not only those officials that have resigned or run away, but also against those politicians who have been fired or redeployed. Fourthly, dramatically increase expenditure on mega infrastructure development. And as a government, stop treating the private sector as your enemy, because they're not. Instead, establish meaningful long-term public-private partnerships in order to augment accelerated infrastructure development. And finally, implement plans and measures to improve revenue collection and to recover monies owed to the department and to the various entities. Honourable members, if these few simple but crucial steps are taken, it will go a very long way towards meeting the nation's legitimate expectations for water security and clean government. In conclusion, House Chair, and on a somewhat lighter note, I wish to remind the House that Winston Churchill remarked many years ago that the best investment anyone can make is to put milk into a baby. Now, whilst that is still true today as far as infants are concerned, I'm convinced that we can all agree that in South Africa today, surely the best investment we can make is to put clean and affordable water into every household. Let us now do that with renewed conviction and determination, because we owe it to the people of this country. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member. Our next speaker will be the Honourable Tseke.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chair, and good day, good morning, Honourable members and colleagues and other guests. Motlotlegi Modula Stilo, morago ga gore mokgatlho wa African National Congress o tseye puso ka ngwaga wa 1994 o ntse o tsweletse pele ka go diragatsa kgang ya phetolo seloago go tlisa botshelo jo bo botoka jwa botlhe. Re tshegetsa tekanyetso kabo e ya 17 billion jaaka e tlhagisitswe ke tona ya lefapha la metsi le kgeleloleswe, gonne re a itse gore se tsamaisana le moono wa phetolo ya go tsosolosetsa serodumo sa maAforika Borwa ka go fitlhelela metsi le kgeleloleswe kwa ntle ga dikgoreletsi. Honourable Chairperson, it is unacceptable that 28 years into our democracy, we still have formal housing using bucket system. Our government had planned to eradicate the bucket system in formal housing by the year 2014. However, the target was not achieved. According to the department's annual performance plan, only 10,798 bucket toilets is remaining in formal housing, and this will be eradicated by the end of this financial year, March 2023. As the ANC in the Portfolio Committee, we have recommended that the department provide a detailed action plan and further said that the department must submit quarterly progress report on progress towards achieving this target by March 2023. As the ANC, we take seriously the issue of the bucket system, and with that, we have recommended in the Portfolio Committee that the department must, in collaboration with COGTA and the Department of Human Settlement, also regulate the mushrooming of informal settlement by allocating well-suitable land with social amenities such as water and sanitation services. Furthermore, we said that this department must expedite the development of a national sanitation framework as a guiding document in the provision of adequate sanitation services. Honourable Chairperson, we are aware that many of the challenges we experience in the provision of adequate sanitation and water infrastructure is due to the impact of migration of people from rural to urban areas. The migration of people to urban centers puts a strain in the existing infrastructure of the receiving municipalities due to the limited human and financial resources to provide every household with adequate water and sanitation infrastructure. Water is not only important because it's a constitutional imperative, it is also an economic resource for socio-economic development of our country. Just like any other resource in this country, its distribution has been skewed as the result of the legacy of colonialism and apartheid. The ANC government, through the Department of Water and Sanitation, has resolved to address the skewed water resource distribution also by transforming irrigation boards into water user associations. For too long, white commercial farmers have had an advantage in the distribution conservation of water resources. By transforming these irrigation boards, we are hopeful that the historically disadvantaged individuals, the Africans, the colors, women, and people with disabilities will now equitably share in the water resources which are closer to the areas of residence. Furthermore, Honorable Chair, the President during his State of Nation address earlier this year had committed that the department and its entities must reduce the backlog of water use licenses by 80% by June this year. We fully support this commitment. We fully support this commitment to reduce the water use license application backlog. And in our view, this has a potential to stimulate even economic growth in our country. We so much need and in turn will create job opportunities. The ANC will monitor the implementation of this 90-day processing of water user license by demanding quarterly reports to be presented to even our portfolio committee. In addition to that, we further requested details of the socio-economic impact as an outcome of the transformation of these irrigation water boards to water user association. Honorable Chairperson, the ANC government has prioritized infrastructure development for economic recovery and reconstruction post-COVID-19 pandemic. To demonstrate its commitment in delivering adequate infrastructure, the department has allocated 69% of its budget to the construction of new infrastructure, rehabilitation, and refurbishment of existing infrastructure. This year alone, the department and its entities is undertaking 193 regional bike infrastructure projects that are in construction phase, while another in regional infrastructure projects are to be completed by the end of this financial year. And a further 294 water services infrastructure projects are under the construction phase with a further 115 water services infrastructure projects to be completed before the end of this financial year. There is no doubt of the ANC government commitment in restoring our people's dignity through proper water and sanitation services. Honorable members, the ANC believes that the catchment management agencies and the Trans-Caledon Tunnel Authority, which is the TCTA, have a huge role in the transformation agenda of our country and the construction industry in particular. We welcome the commitment of the Breeder for Waste Catchment Management Agency in allocating an amount of 15 million for procurement to designated groups, the women, youth, and people with disabilities. In addition, the Inkomati Usutu Catchment Agency has also allocated an amount of 30 for procurement by these designated groups for this financial year. The portfolio committee was forthright with these catchment agencies that they must report back to the committee on how they intend to create much needed jobs in our country. The TCTA also has a huge, with its huge budget allocation, Minister, is responsible for financing and implementing bulk raw water infrastructure development in our country. In addition to the Lesotho Highlands water projects, which the committee has visited in the previous year, it is engaged in other water projects, which include, amongst others, the acid mine drainage, the Mokolo water augmentation projects, the Olifants River resource development, and others. We welcome to the budget allocated to Umzimvubu water projects, which will provide water and other economic activities to the thousands of people in the Eastern Cape. We support you, Minister, as much as this project is overdue, it's long overdue. But really, as the portfolio committee, we support you. We note even the budget that is allocated to this big project. We had observed that the participation of the thousands of people in the Eastern Cape. We had observed that the participation of Black-owned companies is limited within the procurement spend of the TCTA. We therefore recommended that the department and the TCTA should provide a detailed report on how they are going to ensure that the transformation agenda of the country find expression within this entity. Honorable members, corruption in government and our entities has become the order of the day. Batho ba itseela ga ba sa utswa, madi a ke madi a batlhoki. Ma-Afrika ba batla ditirelo mo nageng ya rona. Politicians are colluding with private sector actors to collapse the state. Corruption in its nature is anti-revolutionary. It erodes trust in government and undermines the social contract. Corruption impedes investment with consequent effects on economic growth. We therefore, as members of the African National Congress, support Minister Mtunu and the Department of Water and Sanitation in ensuring that all those who have been fingered in acts of fraud and corruption face the might of the law of our country. Your reports, Minister, gives hope to the nation, and we therefore support you in making sure that the money which is stolen from the poor are paid back. All officials who resigned prior to the start of the disciplinary actions must be brought to book. We therefore support the SIU in making sure that they fast-track the cases of fraud and corruption before them and report back to the Portfolio Committee. Honorable Sheikh Imam, I think it is important that you attend the committee meetings. We have received progress report from the department and the minister that as you are speaking currently, yes, you acknowledge that that department, it was a Hollywood for many years. People have been acting, your DG, your CFO, and so forth. But since the minister was appointed or was deployed in that department, in December, they have been able to appoint the Director General Phillips. He's here, he's on the ground, he's working. You must join him. The CFO has been appointed in the difference Mwat. He's at work, you must join him. Different DDGs, corporate regulations, water services are appointed, but you are trying to grandstand and misleading this nation. As you are speaking, the top management has been filled in the department. Hollywood has gone. No more acting. The minister is serious about taking the work of this department serious. So you must be able to attend our meetings. As for Honorable Maybeck, I agree with you, are still new in that department. We'll welcome you as much as you are raising genuine issues, but you are new. I think you must work closely with Honorable Leon. He has been a member there since 2014. I understand issues and we're working very well with him. Honorable members. As for the EFF, we had hoped that we have gone beyond political tiffing, but it is clear that there are serious challenges to getting into the cycles of robust debate. Is it not hypocrisy that you do not support this budget vote whilst you claim to be pro-poor? Nevertheless, we'll embrace you as the African National Congress. The African National Congress never gets tired. As for the matter that we have raised in Messina, we have just received updates, Honorable Minister, the media briefing just now on the 13th, that the water supply, the main pipeline that has been repaired in Messina, and the water supply has started flowing yesterday. Low-lying areas received water, whilst water could not reach high-lying areas. And as you are speaking, the municipality is on the ground trying to address this matter. We are therefore requesting that the department must be on the ground in making sure that the communities of Messina are getting water. Honorable members, our role is to ensure that the government, ANC government, restores the dignity of our people through the provision of quality water and sanitation. Honorable Minister, one speaker once said, you will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks. But nonetheless, as long as you are stationary, no one will complain, nor utter a single word. Dogs bark at parked cars. Dogs don't bark at parked cars. They are barking at a moving car. So, Kuba, Minister, the ANC has given you a mandate to implement, which is that of bettering the lives of our people. Kuba Letona, Rona, as the African National Congress, we fully support Budget Vote 41. Water is life and sanitation is dignity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, honorable member. I will now call upon the Honorable Minister of Water and Sanitation, the Minister.
Thank you very much, Chair. With everything said and done, it's now time to indicate what budget we have to implement all this. Firstly, the department and the water trading entity have been allocated a combined budget of 111 billion and 256 million rand over the medium term expenditure framework. This consists of allocations of 34.9 billion, 37.3 billion, 38.9 billion in the MTEF, that is 2022-23, 2023-24, 24-25, respectively. The department's budgets consist of two components, the main account and the trading account. And on the main account, the department has been allocated 59 billion over MTEF. This consists of 18.5, 20.1, 20.9 over the 3-year period. The main account budget includes conditional infrastructure grants for municipal services totaling 37.4 over the MTEF. It includes 19 billion for the regional bulk, that is RBIG, and 14 billion for the water services infrastructure. RBIG grant will be spent on 113 different projects across the country. With the grant will be allocated more than 200 projects across the country. However, members, it is an anomaly, which I would like us to note, that municipal water services continue to decline while we make these very substantial grant allocations. Now, mark my words, we are going to stop this going forward through necessary interventions guaranteed to deliver water. What makes the difference between the ANC and opposition parties like EFF, as other members of the Portfolio Committee and the National Assembly have indicated? It is that delivery of water to communities require budgets, not slogans. It is regrettable that they reject the budget, yet point at challenges of water, which requires budget. We are, however, wide awake to everything that everybody is complaining about, corruption and inefficiency, and we agree that these must go. We are committed to managing this budget responsibly and effectively. We have instructed our accounting officer and team to ensure all compliances and improvements on unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. Those must go. As a result of this, no new unauthorized expenditure was incurred in 21-22. Irregular expenditure, which is still appearing in department's audit reports, relates mainly to the constraints contractual obligation from prior periods. We are determined to comply with Treasury prescripts and also to, as I said, spend money responsibly, efficiently, and effectively. Honorable members, the department has underspent on its allocated budget, particularly that is historical, because the budget allocated on a budget allocated for infrastructure, and this too must go under expenditure. This is unacceptable, of course, and that's why the Director General has been instructed to make improvements in this area. Let me proceed to the issues of corruption. We share the concern, and we're up to fighting corruption with all our engines, and we'll spend our effort in doing this, and we will succeed. It is for this reason that we first concentrated on appointing responsible people who will be able to account to the ministry at all times. So we now have the Director General appointed. We have the CFO fully appointed. We have a DDG, Corporate Services, fully appointed. Water Resource Management, fully appointed. We have a DDG, Water Resource Management, fully appointed as recently as Wednesday this week. And then DDG in Regulations and Compliances, also appointed this Wednesday. The only DDG not filled is that of Infrastructure due to a problem that we're resolving. Now, these people as a team will act as a buffer and a barrier to a large extent to these inefficiencies that I've indicated. Everything in terms of investigations that are current, both internally and externally by SIU, SAPS, and any other agency, will be followed to the last drop and to the last crossing of the T. There's nothing to be swept under the carpet. There's nothing to be ignored. And this includes, of course, those who resign and run away. We will follow them up to the end, including in terms of what they will have in their accounts when they resign, civilly and in terms of criminality. We will follow them in that regard, follow each and every cent of the state, and then recoup it as we have started. I just want to say that the people of Nelson Mandela Bay need to be warned that we have added 70 megaliters per day via Noordgedacht, which was just completed, and it gave them the first drop by the end of March. Now, but despite this, there are still acute shortages of water. People need to conserve water. And that's a warning, a very, very strong warning that we need to send to them, individual households and companies. There is scarcity of water. And while we're exploring other means, please conserve water. Then I want to guarantee that water, we will go on to improve safety of water. It is our belief, it was for this reason that we commissioned this report when the last one was done in 2013, that is the green drop. And it's now our baseline going forward. And next March, we are releasing the blue drop report, and that too will be our baseline going forward. And we don't want to issue wrong messages. We want to base our report on water quality on evidence. And going forward, we will ensure that we improve in this regard. And finally, it is true that infrastructure is a problem, and we have to work on this matter drastically with municipalities, who are the ones that are responsible for such infrastructure. Now, I'm urging honorable members all the time when it comes to corruption, including media, to use their freedom, but to speak on audited, authentic, and factual and accurate information, not on just wild, alarmist statements. It is now our honor to thank you very much for this time, and the members of the Portfolio Committee and all members of Parliament. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, that concludes the debate and the business of this virtual mini plenary session. The mini plenary will now rise. Thank you.
Long live the Chair Mika.
Thank you.